Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of Improv Gaming. On today's episode, we are going to be talking about tutorials, about strategy guides, and about the openings and ending of games. Do they matter? Do they make a difference? As always, I'm joined with my two buddies. First, on my left, he's only the biggest Zelda fan in the world. You see it right there with the tattoo on his arm of the Triforce, Mr. Jeremy Bird.
How are we doing this evening?
And of course, to my right, we have the best ponytail in the business.
It's fabulous.
Mr. Nicholas.
How you doing tonight?
And of course, I'm Pete. And that's about it. So on the first episode, or in this first segment, I should say,
I was going to say, well, I'm wondering why Bloodborne is so hard. Like that.
Yeah. Well, Nick knows the best about that.
God.
You want to explain to the viewers a little bit what's going on?
I don't want to explain anything to the viewers. I don't even want to think about Bloodborne while I'm not playing Bloodborne. That's how bad it is.
Oh! Anyways.
Well, this is the beginning of the episode, so I figured we'll begin with tutorials.
Sounds good.
A lot of games have tutorials. Are they good? Are they useless? Are they fun? Are they not fun? Are they just a pain in the ass? What are our thoughts?
What's your take?
Let's start with you, yeah.
I like tutorials at first. When you're learning about the game, it has you do stuff while you're playing the game. It's like, okay, you're up to this gap. Here's how to jump. Oh, here's an enemy. Here's how to fight. There was a good example of a great tutorial I loved, which was Far Cry 3's Blood Dragons DLC, where it made fun of tutorials the whole time. And it's like, press X to jump. And then you're jumping, and the game is making fun of you, saying, the only reason you know that is because we prompted it on the screen. If not, you would just be standing there like a moron. So those are good. But I hate the tutorials where it's always like, it's
like the Halo tutorial where you have to look up, then look down, then look left, and then look right. You remember that?
Oh, press R3. Go back. But it ends up being that with tutorials, it's, if you beat a game and then you want to replay it to 100% it, a lot of the times there's the tutorials again. You know how to play the game, but there's no way of fast forwarding or going above that.
I don't mind that because if say it's a game I really enjoy, fine, okay, tutorial, boom, 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 I know what I have to do. I love it when like the tutorial doesn't hold your hands, like it tells you to like swing your sword with this and I like throw something, it's like, no, that's incorrect. Push this button. Just to have fun with it. But if it's just like a game where like I just want to go through the game, I'm like, come on, tutorial, let's go, let's go, let's go. Alright, game on, let's do this.
That's like the worst tutorials I feel is the ones that don't have you do anything. Where you're standing still and it goes.
Yeah, there's no driving the story
in
the tutorial. And that's what I think is the worst kind of tutorial where for instance in Halo, when you first start Halo, you're looking at the green dots and you turn them red, and then you got to step out, and then you got to stand in a pod and then get out of the pod, and then like you got to do all this like jumping through hoops before you can even start the game. Whereas in a game like Bloodborne, for example, they put little prompts in the corner on the screen.
Yeah.
This is how you use your right-handed weapon. This is how you use your left-handed weapon. And then they have like, not even prompts on the bottom of the screen. They have messengers on the floor that kind of emerge when you get closer. And they tell you, like, to melee, you hit this button. To shoot your pistol, you hit this button. To dodge, you hit this button. If you want to hit the analog stick plus the dodge button, you'll roll. Like, they tell you stuff like that, and it doesn't interrupt with the game because you're actually going on about the story. And they knock it out, like, within the first 5 minutes of the game. These are all your controls. What I hate the most is when, let's say, it's an Infamous, right, where you're playing the game, and then it feels like you're already halfway complete with the game, and they give you a new power-up, and now you have to go through a tutorial in the middle of your game. That is what sucks, and that's what I hate the most about a lot of these tutorials that I've played in the past, where there's nothing in the tutorial that's seamlessly introduced into the game. It's all like, this is the tutorial part, and then you're going to play some game. And then all of a sudden, there's another tutorial part because you got a new power-up. And then you can play the rest of the game. Yeah. And I'm like, what do you... I'm almost done. I'm about to kill the Didact. You're giving me a tutorial? You're insane.
They did that in Prototype. Every time you got a new ability, like the big fist or the blade, they'd be like, this is this. Check it out. It's like, now kill these civilians. And I'm like, well, my mission's over there. Mm-hmm. Why do I have to kill these guys first? The only tutorials I really didn't like was a lot of the ones on the Wii. Skyward Sword, Legend of Zelda. I hate that tutorial. Because what you have to do with Wii Motion Plus is put it upside down to calibrate it, and then for like the first 45 minutes, it's the tutorial. This is to run. This is, like, let's try running. Let's see if you can jump and get up there. Then you get to the flying with the bird part in the game. Oh, dear.
Oh my god.
God, I hate that.
I that's when I stopped. I never played Skyward Sword because I just hated that going like with the motions. What it brings up with tutorials is, and this is brought up with Gears of War. I love the Gears of War series.
I love it too. I hate that fucking tutorial person. Sorry. First
There's
one.
Whoa, he got the first one.
As
Hey,
usual, yeah.
nobody's celebrating as much as they did the last episode.
You know,
Dude, because it was so triumphant when you did it.
I hate that tutorial. It's just.
But not even that. It's as a seasoned Gears of War fan, I played 1, I played 2, I played 3, I played Judgment, and on Gears of War 3, it's still going. Go behind this wall. None of the Gears of War or Assassin's Creed changed that drastically. I wish there was an option to be like, all right, you know what you're doing, you could just skip ahead.
Well, there was a game that was like that, where I can't remember what the game was, but there was a game that I played where there was like, do you want to play the tutorial or do you want to skip the tutorial?
Oh,
those are great.
Those are good because they number one, the tutorial gives you like this, we're at headquarters and now you're gearing up, so let me shoot at like a bunch of dummies so you can get some practice, and it's like the chief is telling you, go take target practice and cool yourself off or whatever it might be.
Was that Perfect Dark?
It might have been Perfect Dark, but I remember another series that did it. So that tutorial is like kind of like a prologue to the game, where they say, "Do you want to skip it? Because who reads the prologue anyway? Is there anybody that really is reading the prologue? Because I thought it was the meat and bones you came here for,
Well, that's
but then when
like
you read
Far Cry Blood Dragon, they were making fun of it. It's like the intro. They're like, "Oh, you're blah blah blah. Things happen, princess in the castle," and it makes fun of the tutorials, which I was like, "Wow, this is a cool new experience."
Yeah.
Well, the best tutorial I would say was Perfect Dark for me. Because you start the game up and you're in the office building because you're the whole secret agent. It basically is you have two paths. You can either go to the right and go to the training center and try out all the different moves, dodging, working with guns, training with this gun. You go to the left and it's like, would you like to start the mission? I was like, okay, so I first started the game up. I don't know what I'm doing. Let me just try this out. I did all the tutorials and then I started the game up and I'm like, this was really helpful. I know what I can do now. I can dodge this. The cool thing, which I thought was really awesome, is somewhere during the story, sorry, spoilers, you end up having the headquarters being attacked, and you actually lure the bad guys into the training area and use the training area as defenses.
That's cool.
It's such a good full circle. Nice. I'm like, wait a minute, I got a training area. Let me go to this, and I turn on the auto guns, and they're just like mowing them down.
See, it's also like with the new Call of Duty, or the Call of Duty that just came out, Advanced Warfare. In the first mission, everything's going on, but during the mission, it's like, oh, there's a car door. You can grab that. You grab it, and then a swarm comes at you and attacks you. But that's the tutorial in the first mission where you're learning everything. And then in the second mission, it's okay, we're going to do stealth. This is how you do stealth. Which is understand, but at least you're progressing. Like I said, the tutorials I think are great in... You need to advance the plot. You need to advance the game. If you're just saying, look up, look down, look right, look left, reload this.
Kill this many enemies and do a combo this many times in order for you to continue. I can't stand stuff like that.
It's like, and then when you don't get it, it's like, would you like to skip? It's like, no, I want to learn how to do this.
I think fighting games do it the best because you have your training area that you go to in a fighting game, and they say the only way that we're going to teach you the next lesson is if you execute this combo properly.
Which is good.
It's frustrating, but it teaches you how to hit the combo. But you chose to go there. You know what I'm saying? Like you didn't just turn on the game and go, okay, I'm going to play Mortal Kombat, and the first fight sequence is you versus Sonya Blade, and they're like, watch out for her legs. They're not telling you that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just
it's helpful. It hurts and it hinders the game experience. It's that fine line.
I don't even think it's a fine line. Don't put a halt to my gaming experience. Streamline it. Streamline it into the game. Even if it's something as simple as a prompt on the corner of my screen telling me what the circle button does, what the Y button does, what the triggers do. Just a little prompt. I shouldn't have to achieve an achievement in order to get further in the game.
Achievement, you passed the tutorial section.
Like I shouldn't every lesson you're trying to learn, I shouldn't have to repeat it 5 times so that then I learned it.
Well, I feel like now, and I think you guys may agree, now the tutorials are better. back a couple years ago, they were
Splatterhouse has the biggest handicap tutorial ever. Because you played it, like, the main part is you start at the game in the mansion, you're killing enemies, whatever, you learn all this stuff, until, like, the third or the fourth level, you don't learn how to regenerate, which basically, say you get beat up, your arm gets ripped off, you can regenerate. And literally the thing is, if you don't survive up until that point, you die, you get a game over, and you go back to the beginning of the first level. That's bad programming, that's bad tutorials. I would have said, just be like, okay, this is for combos, this is to regenerate, boom, start the game up. I remember playing that, and I died 3 times in that big room before you get the regeneration, and I'm like, where there's no health containers in this game. What am I supposed to do? If I get there, it's like, use this, mash this button to regenerate, and I'm like, you've gotta be kidding me! That's terrible. Duh!
Yeah, it's just, I feel like now it advances you on. They still have the middle of the game where it prompts and says, "Hey, guess what? We're gonna learn a new attack, and this is how you do it." Yeah,
they still do that stuff where it's like. Hey, you're like 75% done with the game, but we're gonna completely change the game for you. I do that. And I hate that. I hate when I'm like at the end of a game and they're like, "Oh, by the way, we got a new power for you."
Yeah.
Are you
Infamous
serious?
Does that.
So well, Infamous does it, but Infamous does it with class. The entire time you're getting new powers. That's the whole point of the game. Is to get new powers so that then you can advance on to the next, to the harder bosses. But a game like man, what's a good one?
Silence.
Silent Hill, right?
I think Metal Gear Rising did it.
Yeah, they did.
Metal Gear Rising did it, where at the end of the game, like, you finally figured out that you could do something different. I don't remember what it was.
I know what you're talking about. I can't think of it all.
If
anyone knows, put it in the comments.
Yes, please do. But Metal Gear Rising did it, and for Metal Gear to do that was just obnoxious because you just ruined my Metal Gear experience. But for them to in the middle of the game say, "Oh yeah, by the way, Raiden can jump higher, or he can roll, or whatever the case may have been."
I could have used this 20 minutes ago. I could have used this at the beginning of the game. What's wrong with you? Oh man.
It's definitely like it has its place. It's just where that place lies with a certain gamer. Some gamers love and adore it, which kudos to you guys. If you like playing the tutorial, every time. See, I don't mind doing a tutorial, whether it's be standing, doing something with game. I hate that if I like a game so much and I have to redo the tutorial, I'm like, look, I just took down this big monster in the end of the game, and now you're going to tell me, this is how you walk. That's when I go, I wish it would have a thing where it's like, okay, now you can skip the tutorial.
I think Fable was good about it, because Fable, the first time you played through it, or when you played through it, it would give you the quick tutorial, but it wasn't a situation where if you replayed it, they would give you that same tutorial all over again. It was just like, all right, we know you played the game because we have your save data on file.
That's why I like New Game Plus nowadays, because it's like you go through the game and it's like, do you want to skip the tutorial or do you want to play it again? And I'm like, next, let's go, get him.
Well, sometimes you didn't need a tutorial back in the day when you had strategy guides. You like that little Pete way right there?
That was a nice little segue right there.
Pete way right there. But our next topic is strategy guides. And we brought this up last episode. We said that it's going to be an interesting topic because strategy guides, are you a cheater if you use them? Are you helping? Is it helping you? Is it something where are they obsolete now because of all the online walkthroughs and all the hidden... You just have to go on YouTube and say, help me find the pieces of Eden in Assassin's Creed, and there will be a video of each location instead of buying...
all the booze in Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon.
Yeah. Instead of playing and buying a 25, because they're not that cheap, $20 to $25 one,
I've had experiences where people I know have bought the game and bought the strategy guide. And my initial reaction going to the store with these people was, what are you doing? Why are you buying a strategy guide? Oh, because it's 15% off.
What?
But
that's not the answer.
Why are you buying? You said you're a gamer. Why are you buying a strategy guide? I don't consider you a gamer if you're cheating. Like, in my mind, right? So I didn't think anything of it, but then I see them actually play the game, and there they are with the strategy guide open to the level that they're on, and as they're playing, they're flipping through the page. And I'm like...
That's boring.
What are you doing? That's not how you play a video game. I'm sorry, but who plays video games that way, where they have all the answers in front of them, and they're not actually immersing themselves into the world that they're in, so that then they can like bring about the discovery or the self-discovery of finding like what is it, dog tags in Call of Duty or something like that.
Those are such a pain.
Like those are a pain in the ass, and I understand like hopping onto YouTube or Google to find a couple of them, but to sit here and say, oh, I'm not going to look around every corner myself and I'm going to have a strategy guide that tells me exactly where it is.
Where to go.
Yeah, where to go. It shows me a picture of it so that then when I look around I can see what's going on. I mean, it's astonishing that there are people out there that will legitimately sit and they will flip a strategy guide page and they won't continue until they flip it, read it.
Read the whole thing
They'll
and then
read
go
the whole
and play.
thing and then go play and then look back at it just to make sure that they're doing the right things.
Yeah, case in point, at Evo, I started playing Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, and this kid's watching me on the shoulder, watching me play the game, and I got to the first boss. And I tried for like 20, 25 minutes. He saw the frustration, the red in the face, the sweat coming down my brow. And all of a sudden I whipped my phone out, and he's like, you're giving up? I'm like, I've looked everywhere. I don't get what I'm supposed to do. He's like, okay, just don't use it for anything else. Figure out the first boss. After you figure out the first boss, the game is not that bad. It's just the first boss, in my opinion, for that game, the first beginning of the game is just very, like, hold your hand type, and then once that, it's just like, all right, you're on your own, do what you got to do.
Yeah.
But
it ends up being, for me...
I just use them because I get stuck. That's... not a strategy guide, but like YouTube and stuff. That's what I use them for.
See, strategy guides are good to an extent. I feel if you beat a game, like a Call of Duty, like an Assassin's Creed, like a Far Cry, an Uncharted, and you beat the game, you know what you're doing, then it's okay to go back and say, okay, where did I miss this one item?
Yeah.
Where did I miss this? Because
that's in this game?
Bayonetta 2, there was all those hidden rooms, and when I played through Bayonetta 2, I would go and it'd be like, okay, you missed these 3 rooms. And I was like, okay, instead of me circling around, I would like just to know exactly where I'm going,
Mm-hmm.
So if the strategy says, okay, instead of making a left, you have to make a right. Okay, that saves me an hour of looking with time you might not have where you know exactly where to go. But when it takes away from the experience, it ends up being, I think the most I've ever used a strategy guide for is probably role-playing games and Zelda games. That's about it.
But that's where the term strategy comes into play. Like if you're playing a role-playing game, like let's say a Final Fantasy, you actually need a strategy in order to defeat the next boss. Yeah. So a strategy guide tells you this is the character set you might want to consider.
Yeah.
And looking at that, you might go, oh, well, you know what? I have a mage, might not be as powerful as that, but I also have a warrior that's a lot more powerful than this. Yeah. So I might be able to actually, all right, I see what they're talking about. Maybe if and it's a strategy guide. It's not telling you exactly how to play it. So I think, I'm not sure. You can probably research this. We probably should do some research on it. I think the strategy guide first started with these role-playing games. So that then you know where it is that you're going, what it is that your character set can actually achieve. Yeah. But then it became like games like Call of Duty, which I'm sorry, but you don't need a strategy guide to know how to shoot people.
Yeah. Even with the tutorial in the beginning.
You know what I'm saying? Like there's no strategy to point and click shooting. There is no strategy there. There's just skill of aiming, and that's it. And proceeding and, taking out multiple targets.
Well, you have, the intel that you have to collect, but still, it's something where...
But that's a quick, Google search.
Yeah, that, and Call of Duty's a 5-hour campaign. When something like Bayonetta, which is a little bit more time-consuming, to get those hidden rooms, then I'm like, okay, then the strategy guide's more worth it. For, games like Final Fantasy and Zelda, that's what I love. When I had Final Fantasy X, which is my favorite Final Fantasy.
Victory! Yay!
But when I have that and I'm going into all the different battles, it's like, oh, okay, use this, use your, I'm trying to think, what were the monsters called? That used to summon.
The Aeons.
Yeah. When, it would say, use, this, I forgot some of the names. I renamed them all Destiny, Courage, all these metaphorical. But it would be you should bring in the zebra unicorn-looking thing that I called courage. I call it courage because that's what it is.
I remember that thing.
I was like, it's like you should go with courage first, but make sure you have, this, like, have this person. But if you have potions, it will, the strategy guide wasn't saying, okay, the enemy is going to attack with this move.
Yeah.
This is how you will counter this move.
But it can't because it's so randomized. Like, the computer's also selecting a move set that they want to do on a turn-based system.
Yeah.
Whereas, the fight with Sephiroth on Kingdom Hearts, you could get him into a glitch mode where all he does is his dash. Mm-hmm. And that's it. All you have to do is parry that and then come back with a counter.
Yeah.
And then he consistently gets into that glitch. And the strategy guides have those kind of things where it's like, oh yeah, here's a little cheat. If you jump 3 times and then circle around, Sephiroth will be glitched in the corner and you can beat the living hell out of him all you want to.
But where's the fun in beating him that way?
Yeah. Whereas when I played it in, I think, Kingdom Hearts 2, the entire battle was airborne. When I finally beat him, the entire battle was airborne.
Yep.
And I tell people that, and they're like, what do you mean? Like, you kept on jumping? No. Like, we would fight, I would slash him a couple of times, and then I would parry him, and I would stay in the air. Like, legitimately, the entire battle was airborne.
Well, it also is, which brings to Jeremy's gift he brought today, the size of a strategy guide.
Oh, my
The
goodness.
size.
Some of these things are like Bibles, man.
Skyrim. Skyrim was a book. A book. It wasn't even a strategy guide. It was book, 300 plus pages. And then you have something like, a Call of Duty, which is a little bit paper thin.
Yeah, a little bit less than a
which is my door, But, Jeremy, what did you bring
Here's
for us
what I was going to say. Okay, so there's, growing up, I have a lot of Nintendo guides, but the thing is, you have these ones which are like Primo, which aren't bad. Basically, they get you point A to point B. What I do with the 2 Smash Brothers, awesome games. They're good, but I just feel they're like lackluster. Like I said, point A to point B, and you have all the different characters, all the different move sets. It's kind of plain. That's why.
See, that's why I wouldn't get to excuse your point, Smash Brothers. Why would you get a strategy guide for Smash Brothers?
Yeah, I would never get a strategy guide for Smash Brothers.
Yeah, I'll give you the best thing. Where's this one? No, it's the other one. Hold on.
To me, it's like...
Right there. All hidden secrets right on the first page. Look at that.
The internet was around back then.
Yeah, but that's lazy.
No, it wasn't the internet that we have today.
Yeah, but
like,
you could say
that was dial-up where you're like, I need to figure this out.
But I was still using stuff like that. Like, welcome. All right. Yeah, thank you. All right, let me find out what's going on. And while I was waiting for the page to I was still playing the game trying to see if I could get through it myself.
Yeah.
So I think the internet back then was more helpful in that I actually achieved more waiting for a strategy guide or waiting for a hint than I did looking for the actual hint.
The thing was, I would beat the games and my mother would get me them as Christmas presents. Just like I got Super Mario 64, which I like because it's not just like the game point A to point B. It's like you have the full maps. Hold on, with my favorite example. Like here, you got first floor mezzanine, and it gives just a little paragraph story of the game, just to give you a little bit of ambiance when you're going into first play. Like, oh, that's pretty cool. This is where I'm gonna have to go, so on and so forth. I got Star Fox.
A lot of
he did.
Star Fox, love it. 64, amazing game.
Such a great game.
This is one of my pride and joys, Ocarina of Time, and if you people notice this, hold on. What I like about this one is it actually has like original stories, like The Summer of Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past, Zelda 2. It's got a link to that's a Link to the Past. Ocarina of Time's description, but if you notice, sorry guys, I have to do this.
It's all good.
There's the tattoo right there, and then that's the image I chose, just because I was like, I opened it and I'm like, that's cool looking. And this one, it actually has like the sketches of like the different parts of the story.
See, that's cool when it has like fan art in the strategy guide or like backstory.
Yeah.
Stuff where it's just not about the game, where it's like, I want to collect this just because it's going to be a fascinating read.
Like, it turns it from just a strategy guide to a collector's set.
Yeah. And then this one, I'm not a fan of it, but it's, which one is this? Oh, these are what are called the Versus Books collection for Majora's Mask. I didn't use this to play the 3DS version because, like I said in the last episode, it changed a lot of things. It moved a lot of masks around. It moved a lot. Like I was playing through, and I'm like, where's this mask? I can't find it anywhere. But I just like it because literally you open up posters
and everything falls out.
Yep, and there's Majora's Mask right there, which I get a kick out of. And this one, like I said, it's a little lackluster because it just goes point A to point B. But the thing is, that basically, what's cool is it tells you, say like this is this location. Here's what you have to do to complete the area. I think that's pretty cool.
See, that doesn't give you. It's just like even. See, that would be helpful where even if you get it, you don't want to know where it is. Just say, okay, these are the items I have to keep an eye out for. It's not telling you where they are. It's just saying, keep your mind.
And then this is what I found fun. We were talking about different sizes. Like I said, one more time, Ocarina of Time.
Hold on. Let's see. This is how thick it is. Show him. What
Here's a pen for comparison.
This is Twilight Princess. Look at this beast of a thing. This is going all out. This is like Zelda exclusives. It's got gold binding and everything, which I think is pretty cool. And what I find very awesome is they actually put this in, which they don't do a lot. It's actually a cloth map of Hyrule.
Oh, that's nice.
That's cool.
That's cool.
See
that stuff is amazing.
That's like a collector's.
Yeah, like, that's what turns it from just a strategy guide to a collector's set.
Interesting just to read.
Yeah, like you got. Hold on, find a good page. Come on, give me one.
Like Grimoire cards.
Yeah.
But also, guys, in the comments, let us know what strategy guides you played or used. Do you use a Call of Duty? We're not judging here. We don't judge.
Yeah, we don't judge here.
But let us know. What strategy guide did you need to help beat a game?
This was a Christmas present. That's the only reason I got this. But this was amazing. So.
But moving on from strategy guides, a topic that I've been wanting to do a lot is open and endings of games. Do they make the game? Do they break the game? Does the game matter if it's a strong opening and strong ending? I
think it's a two-part thing.
Yeah.
Opening doesn't matter too much to me.
To me, it does.
See,
sometimes, like if I just get introduced into a game, because there's plenty of games where it's opened up and I'm just there on a map, and now I have to go about my business, and then you start to figure out things as you go along. The ending is what will make or break a game for me. Like at the end of Reach, where it ends up I don't remember the ship's name. What's the ship's name? But the end of Reach is legitimately the beginning of Halo 1.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh, what? And I went back and popped in Halo onto the Xbox just so I could look at that video again, that opening sequence. And I was like, it's a little different, but it is the same exact scene.
Yep. For me, it had to be Metal Gear Solid. The game where you start it up and you can watch the whole intro for like a good 25 minutes, or say you're playing the game for the second time, just hit the bathroom for 25 minutes, and then you're like, all right, intro's over, let's do this. But how the game starts from like that long intro to like the ending where Liquid dies and like Outer Haven is just destroyed, there's nothing left. I was like, after going through that whole game, I'm like, all right, beginning was good, love the big bulk of the game. The ending, I'm just like, I'm satisfied. 5 out of 5. Love this game.
He meant Shadow Moses, not Outer Haven.
Yeah, that's that's Metal Gear 1. I'm sorry, wrong game. Wrong game.
At least he didn't say PS3 instead of PS4.
Shut up. You bust my chops about that.
But here, I have an interesting take, and if you gentlemen will indulge me for a second, it's funny because I think an opening in a game matters, but I also think an ending in a game matters. I feel like if I play a game and the opener isn't as good, but the ending makes up for it, it's still very enjoyable for me. But it's something where if the opening is very good, but the ending is disappointing, that's when I go, okay, you had a great opener, how did you come to this?
How'd you mess this one up?
And then there's those things where, and I brought it up last week, Prince of Persia, how the beginning of the first game and the end of the last game, and just how beautiful and well done that was. And then you have something where, what was it? Uncharted 2 Among Thieves for the PS3 had an amazing opening. With the train, if you guys remember. He has to climb up the train and into, it was fantastic. And then you get towards the end of the game. and you have to fight. I forgot the enemy's name or the final boss's name, but you fight him in this little forest area, and it's all right, you know. It's a boss battle, and then like you escape, but it's not that big. Like, oh my god, what a great ending, you know, which is disappointing because here's Uncharted 2, which is a fantastic game. Don't get me wrong, ladies and gentlemen, it's fantastic, but you go and have these big set pieces where you're just over the top, and then at the end it just falls apart. The most disappointing thing for me has to be Tomb Raider. I love
the new one that just came out.
Yeah, the rebooted. I loved that game the whole way through. I said, "This is fantastic. This is probably one of the best games I've played since Uncharted 2." Like I was dying. I cannot wait for the sequel. But then, like I remember the ending, and the ending was just.
Was there an ending?
I don't. It's like it was just not a good ending. At the end of it, I'm just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
And it takes you out of it. Like, thank God. Like, for me, when I review games, you know, I look at the beginning, the gameplay, did it hold my interest? But it ends up being that if the ending is weak, you know, it takes away from it. Like, I hated the beginning of Assassin's Creed Unity, and I did not like the game. I said it to you guys in one of the first couple episodes of this Gamecast. And it was just, like...
I think,
like, boring. But then the ending just was totally, like, why couldn't this game be the whole time? There were epic fights at the end of the game. You know, even the dialogue at the end where Anno was, like, on that ledge in Notre Dame and just talking and like saying this beautiful monologue, and I'm just like, I wanted this game the whole time, and it was a disappointing. And I give a score out of 10, and I was giving it like 6 or 7, but the ending boosted up for me where I'm like, you know what, the ending was worth it enough for me to warrant to give it a nice score.
Since I'm popular for getting so much hate because I throw out like just the opposite of what everybody wants to hear, I'm gonna say it right now. Mass Effect 3 was a great ending.
I love
it. In the comments, say how much you want to kill Nick.
Like every episode, I throw out something that everybody's just gonna hate. Mass Effect 3 was a great ending. I'm sorry, but it was.
But why do you think it was?
Because it was finally the merger and it was everything culminating into one final part, depending on what path you took. Because there were 3 paths, right? Yes. You annihilate all
red, which was annihilation. Yeah. The blue, which is like kill yourself and save everybody else.
Yeah, and save save organics, right? It was kill organics. There was kill robotics, or there was merge the two.
Yeah,
robotics
which was in the middle,
organics, which was like in the middle.
A special way to get you had.
As far as I know, there was no special way to get it.
No, because I couldn't do that.
I did it. I did it without a problem. But then again, Mass Effect was one of those games where Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 were all the decisions you made in 1 and 2 would affect what you were able to achieve in 3, from what I understand.
Yeah, that's what the idea was.
So I selected the middle one, and the point being, the most rare ending you can get generally is the right ending. That's the ending that it's supposed to be. So you merge biotics, or what was it? Yeah, it was biotics. They called them biotics and organics, and suddenly you have peace. Now there's no more Reapers chasing anybody. Everybody's secluded in the galaxy. There's no more gates as well. So now you have to start from scratch and build your own galaxy. Uh-oh. I'm sorry, but that was a great ending.
Look forward to a Mass Effect debate.
Are we doing a Mass Effect debate? That's it. Gong! I am going to war with everybody.
No, the thing with Mass Effect is, and I think the fans will agree with me on this, you make decisions 1 through 4. But at the end...
3.
I'm sorry, I'm excited for the new one. I'm excited for the new one, I'm sorry. You make decisions 1 through 3. But at the end, it's choose your own color. And, you know, it made it feel like our decisions didn't make anything. Yeah. If you decide to save Ashley and I decide to save the guy that nobody saved because everybody saved Ashley, you know, it didn't matter. And that's what made the fans upset. It's like all these things we did that were completely different because you easily did a different thing. Was Rex alive in your game?
Yeah.
Because Rex died for me. I had to kill him because he was getting agitated.
Oh,
I loved Rex.
Yeah,
I had to put
Rex.
him down. I had to put him down. But right there, from there, it was a different story for us, and anything could happen. And then at the end, it's...
But everybody's sitting here about the ends justifying the means. But the whole point of a video game is the journey, especially in a Mass Effect game, where... God, we're getting into this debate right now.
Oh, you know what? We're going to hold it up here. We're look forward to a Mass Effect.
Oh, we're getting into a Mass Effect war.
Can I chime in my couple?
Yes,
please?
yes.
Of course.
Okay, here's not Mass Effect, but Halo 2, that ending where...
La. I still have to play it.
How many Halos did you play?
I played all of them except for 2. But
Wasn't 2 the one you were talking about where you had to jump from spider tank to spider tank?
No, that was Halo 3. Come on,
Okay.
don't confuse
Okay,
them.
so basically, cover your ears, but Halo 2
La.
at the end, the commander talks to Master Chief, he's like, what are you doing? He goes, finishing this fight. And then you just see that rocket falling towards and then the game ends. I was like, no! No! And I did the game and I'm just like, really? That's how you're going to end the build towards 3? I'm like, okay, great game. That ending frustrates me a little bit, but I liked it a lot. And then the one game which I give the most praise to is God of War 2. You do all that stuff in God of War 2.
And then you climb Olympus.
You do all stuff in God of War 2. You kill the Sisters of Fate, and then you're friggin' climbing up the mountain on Gaia's back holding the Sword of Olympus.
Yes.
I saw it and I'm like, I want that third game. I'm like, let's kill gods.
See, that's cool because I remember playing that and I go, all right, we're going to go to Mount Olympus. I was like, wait a minute. There's been 12 hours in this game already. We're not going to go to Mount Olympus yet. And then it's like, to be continued or whatever it is. Or like, Zeus, I'm coming for you. And I'm just like, oh.
Well, my opinion, like I said, I thought that was the best way to end it because then you go into the third game and you just
to argue the whole opening ending.
Yeah.
Infamous 1 and 2, I loved.
You told us about this.
I loved. I told you about this off camera though, right?
Yeah, you did.
All right, so I finally get to talk about it on camera.
This is so
all right. Infamous 1 and 2, I loved without a doubt. But then Second Son came out, and the opening completely killed it for me because apparently the good ending in Infamous 2 is the story that they went with for 3. But that's
Second Son, it's not 3.
Yeah, it's whatever. It's 3. All right. Right? That's the ending that they went with. Why? Because the statistics show that more people did the Paragon, or what was it? Superhero? What was the rating? It was Infamous, and then the other side was Hero.
Yeah,
it was Hero. Right? They all took the Hero. 76% of people took the Hero route. Whereas the name of the game is Infamous. So when I played the Hero route, what did I do afterwards? I replayed it and played Infamous, where I just killed civilians.
Yep.
I binded them to the ground. I didn't care about what was going on. The hardest way to play that game was the Hero.
Yes.
And that's why I did it, because you have to avoid the civilians that are in the way. You have to try not to cause deaths. You have to try not to kill people as enemies are just rampaging the entire city, and you have to revive people that are lying on the floor about to die.
That's why I like that game, because you feel like that story gets you feel like you're a full blown superhero. Like this is what Superman does on a daily basis.
Exactly. So to have that in part 1 and part 2, and then you had the option of playing it in the Infamous bout, and that's the title of the game, which means that the next game it has to carry on the story of the Infamous. Yeah. Right. But Second Son, they were like, oh yeah, Cola is actually dead. Yeah? Then who the fuck goes back in time and creates all the goddamn conduits, you son of a bitch? Who's doing that?
That's
who the fuck went back in time and created the conduits? Because I don't know if you remember the first one, but Cole was the one that did that, motherfucker.
There it is.
I was so furious. I was like, how the fuck does this game even exist? It can't exist. If Cole died, this game does not exist.
What about that sucker punch? What about that?
It just made no sense. Nothing. And then I bought I reserved it. So I got the bonus of, oh yeah, you get downloadable content that explains what happened between 2 and Second Son. And I was like, okay, good. And it explained nothing.
Yep.
It explained absolutely nothing. It was like, oh yeah, Cole died. A new lady took over, and apparently concrete is an element now. Concrete, neon, video, and smoke are elements. not the products of elements.
We should just put this in the video as Nick going off on Infamous.
But I love the franchise so much that to destroy the continuity of the story utterly destroyed the game for me. And that was the opening sequence that ruined it. Did I play the game all the way through? Yeah, absolutely. Was I completely miserable the entire time and like pulling out my hair because I was so like confused onto how is this game even possible? I feel like I'm playing a paradox right now. It killed that franchise.
I can agree with you. Like, I'm big on continuity in movies and video games. It's just when the continuity goes out the effing window, I'm just like, all right, who was drinking scotch when you put this game together? Who said, I know I forgot something in the story. We'll go with this idea. I'm just like, that's why I have a problem with Prototype 1 and 2. I love Prototype 1. Manhattan gets infected. You're playing as Alec Mercer. He's a badass. I love playing as him. And then the second game, you're chasing Alec Mercer as whoever the second character is. And I was like, who's this schmuck? I'm like, where's Alex? It's like playing Devil May Cry 4.
Yeah.
Where the heck is Dante the whole
Why does everybody think that Hideo Kojima Metal Gear Solid 2 thing works when it fails so miserably? Like, everybody was so pissed off about Metal Gear Solid 2.
Okay.
And everybody's like, oh yeah, let's all just change our characters. Like, if you played Zelda from the point of view of Zelda, would you be happy about that game?
The planet would burn. The planet would burn.
Stay in a carrier. Stay in a cage all day.
Like,
hey, on a sidebar, I did like the ending of Infamous Second Son.
It doesn't matter. It's a moot point. It's a moot point.
I think, to round up this episode, I think that it definitely matters to have an opening and an ending, and they have to be good. They have to set the stage, and they can't stray away from old games. If you're a sequel, know you're a sequel, and bring that much better of an opening in a game.
Like, God forbid you can't do that, sorry. You can't do that. Just do some callbacks, like throw little just cameos here.
Well, even still, you can do that. Think about Metal Gear to Metal Gear Solid 2, right?
Yeah.
As horrible as it was switching over to Raiden to play, right? And then the naked Raiden in that sequence, right? That was an epic end battle where you fought basically Doc Ock on top of a new Metal Gear in the middle of Manhattan. Like, that was an epic scene.
I hate
That was an epic ending, you know. And then you go to 3 where you're playing a Cold War. You're fighting up against a Cold War version of Metal Gear, and it was epic. Like, it was just an epic battle. And you're in like a little Jeep with a rocket launcher firing at this Cold War nuclear missile, like portable missile launcher. Like, it was just epic.
And you had the James Bond opening with the Snake Eater song.
Oh, yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 4, my two favorite parts have to be where you actually play in Rex. You go back to Shadow Moses.
Yes.
You get into Rex, and I'm just like, oh my god, I'm going to get to take down Ray. And then the ending where you do the 3 different games as like Liquid and Solid. The 3 fight with the 3 different bases.
I love that. That's still one of my favorite.
The music changes, the styles. I'm just like, oh, just what an end! What a way to wrap out just that portion. I was just like, all right, nerdgasm. I can't control this. Oh my god!
That was such a beautiful ending.
That's how you do an ending right.
Yeah. Because they had the gameplay, and then towards the end, you know, when it was in Metal Gear Solid 4 phase, you know, and the slow punches, and just the music building up, and then both just, like, taking the strings and, like, stabbing the other, and it was just so beautifully done. That's what I love about it, when an ending is just so pure
that's a franchise that kept to their roots of, like Hideo Kojima, like, probably had his walls written on with all the story points that you can't stray from.
You gotta keep this. Like,
not when like, if I had 20 more hands, I would do this, and this is how tightly woven your story is.
Yep.
Because everything is just all connected, and it's all conspiracy. Every single aspect of that game is just, if somebody tells you something, you're like, I don't know if I believe you, because this might be another conspiracy.
Yeah.
Hideo might pop up another, Meryl never existed. She was a figment of your imagination. Yeah. Put there by the Lale Lule Lo. You know what I mean?
Hi, can I help you? I'm looking for the Lale Lule Lo.
Oh, God.
But I think openers and endings definitely matter in the game. There's no doubt about it. But some games just, and especially in franchises like the Uncharted's, the Metal Gears, Prince of Persia's, whatever you want, the Ratchet and Clanks. Sorry.
This series is a you timeline. Yeah. This timeline is more screwed up than Kelly Boo Boo's mother. That's how messed up this is. You try to ask me to explain it, I can't.
But it ends up being, for those series, they need to have those openings and endings. But I think for new IPs, they could get away with a limited thing when it comes to... I'm trying to think of a good example.
Devil May Cry, when it first started, that wasn't a very cinematic game.
No, it was very Resident Evil with guns and swords.
It was an accident. Yeah. Devil May Cry was an accident.
It was supposed to be...
It was supposed to be the new Resident Evil engine, but it got too far away from its roots, so they decided to make a new game out of it.
And then we don't talk about the second game, please.
Oh, please.
Oh, dear God.
Don't. When they gave it to another team to build on, and they had no idea what they were doing. Oh, God. But Devil May Cry was a game that had no story. All it had was this gimmick. Here's a badass demon hunter. That's it.
Yep.
Now let's pit him against whatever we can fathom as a demon.
And they have the worst.
Marionettes, freaking what, reapers?
Dragons, giant skulls.
Yeah.
Scorpion spider?
A scorpion spider?
Phantom.
Oh my God. When I fought that scorpion spider, dude, I was like, I can stand on his back?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Hack away and shoot him in the...
Oh.
Yeah.
So, like Devil May Cry was a series where, as a starter, it was a phenomenal game, and it had no story. None at all. It wasn't until 3 came out that you really got a story. Because even 2 was
that story is really, really good. How, like, Virgil becomes Neo Angelo
from the first one.
From the first one. Like, when he takes his face off in the first game, I'm like, I didn't catch it. I was like, he looks like me, but who's he supposed to be? And they start talking about the two brothers, and I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
And then in 4, you have Nero, who's like the pseudo third brother, who I still am mad to the fact that he made me fight Dante just to play as him. Mm-hmm. Why couldn't you make that fight easier? I've never been more frustrated with a boss. Even the Ben boss was easy versus him.
But that's like a series. It goes. They have to have that proving level.
And then you throw DMC out the window.
DMC wasn't that bad.
I like the collector's version, or had the revamped version.
The new one, yeah.
That was better than the first one.
Well, they said that they really took it down and tried to rebuild it.
Well, yeah, they did, but it didn't okay.
It ends up being like a Stick of Truth, South Park. Oh, the beginning was like a good beginning, and then the ending, I think, was absolutely fantastic. It was a short game.
It was hilarious.
Princess Kenny, I was dying.
No, I was dying when Morgan Freeman came in to explain something, and then bing! I was like, wow.
Stuff?
But what I liked about and even in the South Park, you can say this, all right? They knew about continuity, because in that game, there are references out of the ass to every single damn episode of South Park they have ever made.
Yeah.
You know?
You look in the closets.
You look in the closets, you look... Like, if you go into Cartman's mother's room, every drawer is filled with dildos. And that is a running joke that Cartman's mom is a slut.
My favorite cameo is the fact that when you're inside Mr. Slave trying to kill the nuke, and Mr. Hat's sitting in the back.
Yes.
And you get a friend request from him.
And you see like the dead rodents that Lemmingwings passed through.
Yes.
Yes. And then you run into all like the ghosts as you're going through Mr. Slave's ass. You run into the frog prince, the
bird and the fish,
the bass, the bass to mouth month.
Yeah.
Best. But.
Oh my God.
Well, I think that's going to end our episode 5. But first, Nick, tell them where we can be found.
You can find us on Twitter at improv_gaming. You can find us on Instagram at improv_gaming. You can also email us at improvgamers@gmail.com. Look us up on Facebook at gaming. Improv Gaming on Facebook, and of course like and subscribe to the video and to the channel. And
for next week's episode, we usually bring you guys 3 topics, so we figured let's have the 3 of us each think of a topic. So this is the first time we're hearing each other say these things. So Nick, what will be your topic?
Mine is the gamer's fatigue.
Fatigue?
Yeah, gamer's fatigue. It's a phenomenon that's being addressed by the industry where the older generation of gamers, not necessarily your 50-year-olds that bought us the consoles, but you know, our generation where we've played so much video games and we've gotten so saturated with this stuff that it's just become blah, and we don't want to play anymore.
Jeremy?
I'm going to be handling one of my favorite subjects, gamer frustration. How can you either playing a good game, a bad game, or how much frustration is good?
Yeah, how much is too much?
Oh, so many bad games.
And mine is the most disappointing game that you've played. What's something that you had high hopes for that just didn't pan out, or what is the most disappointing series that went down? And guys, in the comments, let us know, what was your most disappointing game you've played? What is your gamer's frustration? What is your gamer fatigue, if you know anybody that suffered from it? But thank you guys for watching. This has been episode 5 of Improv Gaming. Next week we will be coming back.
We're gonna get some Chinese food. You want ribs? Oh. You can't be hungry and disappointed at the same time.